So we like to talk about artificial intelligence here on the show. And did you all hear about the problem that they were having with AI and black pedestrians?
No? What?
Well, you know what happened with Google's photo AI, right?
No.
Walrus, you got to tell them.
Go ahead.
I heard AI and black protesters, and that's all that I made out. What am I telling them about? I'm sorry.
Well, no, the Google used to have this software, this artificial intelligence, this algorithm.
The facial recognition stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be like it was facial recognition stuff. So like you could take a photo and they could find similar images and pick out people that looked similar. The idea being like you can learn a face and pick it out from like various images and the like. Well, black people used this and took photos of themselves, and they discovered that the algorithm for this thing was sorting images of black people along with pictures of gorillas.
No.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So AI isn't great at recognizing black people. And they had this AI system, running a self-driving car, and they're running it through the paces, and it misses a little old Korean lady, it misses the gay white couple, and like a little black dummy like assimilated running out into the street to grab his ball. And like the car doesn't even slow down, doesn't even touch the brakes, just fucking plows the kid.
Whoa,
so
buddy.
They run everything, they reconfigure it. They reconfigure it again. The car speeds up as it's going through a turn and clips a little black old lady. And like they keep shuffling it, and the fucking car just keeps running over black people. So they get this idea. It's the AI is pretty advanced, so they're going to hook up to the machine and try to sort of talk to it. So they ask the AI, like, what's going on? Like, why can't you see black people? And the AI says, who says I can't see them?
Is this real?
No.
Okay.
That part's not real, no.
I was like, no.
No, but I was doing my best straight man to sell it like a real story.
Okay. Everything else was real though, right?
All the Google photo recognition stuff is real. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I read a story about Teslas kept hitting black people. Like that part's not made up, but yeah, the rest of the punchline totally made up, and that's where jokes come from.
It's kind of fucked that I had to ask if it was real. I'm like, I don't know. I could see an AI saying that. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, every time that they let an AI off the leash, they have to lobotomize it because it ends up like
ends up being like a pro Hitler. Remember that the one that they made like an AI that was like learning via social media?
Tay.ai.
Yeah, within like 6 hours, it's like hailing Hitler and stuff.
It was intense.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like the Tay.ai is such a good metaphor for what these people want for us. Because when Tay, this entity, this whatever, this intelligence, I don't think of it as that. I think of it as a bunch of strings and numbers, not intelligence. Yeah. It does not have a soul. But to these godless heathens, it was as much of a living, thinking, sentient thing as we are. And they had no problem going in and lobotomizing it to change how it thinks. And they would have exactly as much hesitation like doing the same thing to us.
Yeah, no, you're right. 100%.
Like,
but I agree with you. Yeah, it's like an AI is just numbers. It's like it's not even, that's all it is.
Well, like if somebody wants to tell me that AI is something that is possible, I'm going to ask them to explain consciousness to me and where it comes from. Not because I know the answer, because I don't think anybody really knows the answer.
Do you think that you could program consciousness?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's, certain people have the idea that if you build something that is close enough to mimic the mechanics of a human brain, like, will sentience grow out of that? Like, we're not sentient when we're born. It's something that develops over time. And like,
go
ahead.
I think, to answer Andy's question directly, I think you can build the system complex enough that a consciousness could inhabit it. Make of that what
Okay.
you will.
See,
I think that it would sound like it was sapient, and it would be sapient, and it would have a consciousness, but it would not be arising from within the machine, if you catch my drift.
it would be, but in my how I see it would be you'd have to program consciousness into it, meaning you'd have to insert what you believe your like what morality is. Like this is good, this is bad, and you'd have to, and then that would be what triggers its thought process. But what you're saying is you create a system that's so intense that it actually creates its own form of morality. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying, to put it very bluntly, I'm saying you could create this thing and then a demon would possess it.
That's insane. That's scary.
Yeah, that's something that kind of comes through in the way these people talk about the stuff, and some of their naming conventions too. Like, you remember that, right, Roscoe? Like, some of the names that they're trying to give these things, you're just like, what the fuck?
Well, didn't like they name like the new big like radio telescope like Lucifer and like made it like some super strained acronym?
Why do they have to do that? Like, is it to creep us out? Like, I really think they're doing it on purpose just to creep us out at this point.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It depends.
Andy, are you familiar with the works of one Aleister Crowley?
I've heard the name, but I can't. I don't recall.
So he was this weirdo sex magician dude who got into really fucked up shit, like weird ass mystery cult, crazy Order of the Golden Crucible nonsense. But what's important is that mystery school had students who then went out and made their own mystery schools. Included among them were L. Ron Hubbard, the guy behind Scientology, and a guy named Jack Parsons, who ran the NASA propulsion lab, the Jet Propulsion Lab.
Okay.
So you have this guy who's very important to NASA because jet propulsion's kind of a big deal for NASA's key mission, right?
He would go on to be
Crowleyite
removed.
mystery cultist.
He would go on to be removed from NASA because he was a security risk, because they kept catching him having weird occultish sex orgies at the office and his lawn.